What's going on, guys? Justin here. I wanted to make sure that I did this correctly, so I'm going to call this my revised coming out story. I think when I was posting that, I felt like after waiting forever for it to upload and then reviewing it, that there was just not enough emphasis on the actual story of me coming out. There's a lot to tell you. I mean, I'm using this as an outlet for myself, first and foremost, so that I can get things off of my chest, and just use this platform for as many opportunities as I can. And so I just want to start off basically by saying that I was probably more like 23 years old when I came out. Officially, I came out. Some people probably already knew, assumed, whatever. But I had, girlfriends up until then, and so maybe not. My story is, it's different, and like I said, coming out, it's so different. It's different for every single person, who has to experience that. And however you get through it and you come out of the closet and get to actually live in who you are and feel free in that, that's so special. Yeah, so here we go. I guess I could just basically start off by saying I just remember, silly little things like playing Truth or Dare. Whenever, maybe it was weird that I was playing Truth or Dare at like 6 or 7, but I remember kissing this girl under the table once, and I didn't think anything of it. I was just playing and whatnot. And when I was 9, I had my first little girlfriend, and so on and so forth. But I do believe somewhere in all of that is when that happened, 7 through 9, because there was a point where we would start playing games that evolved around boys and girls kissing, like Truth or Dare or Spin the Bottle and stuff. And we would play this in the middle of the park. I mean, we would just, I don't know why we were so daring, but that's the kind of, I was born in '83, so at that point it's like 90s, and I'm not sure how that works out, but that's that. And I think that we started to explore that kind of stuff, and then I just felt like I knew, the first time I really knew was when we played Spin the Bottle, and a friend of mine, it landed on a friend of mine, and it was a boy, and I wanted so badly to just, and I didn't even know that I felt that way until all of a sudden that happened, and I was like, almost like blushing, it felt like, or I was so much more excited inside of me than I knew that I was allowed to even say. So, never kissed him, not then. And, I got little bits of pieces in it. When I was growing up, I had, I played flag football whenever I was young, very young. I was homeschooled for a little while, so we played flag football and soccer, and I remember taking like dance classes with my other brothers, and then, I ended up living with these two older people, and they were very much into church, and every Sunday you go to church, and there was just no real time to think about that. I didn't really have many ways to explore those feelings, and I knew that they were wrong at the time. I felt like they were wrong, so I just I didn't want that. I didn't want to feel gay. I already had a hard enough life. You know, I didn't need, out of all the other things that I went through, I didn't need to have to do that. And I didn't want that. So I never did, and all throughout high school, there was never anybody that I ever, you know, did anything with. I had girlfriends, and I played football then, and I think the next time I would even have any opportunity to explore that is when I was like 19 years old, and I had got online and I started talking to guys, and I met with one of them, and I was 19 and he was 30, and I wanted to know. I mean, I was not a virgin. I was, you know, a virgin in the gay world, but I wasn't a virgin, so I didn't really think too much of it, of, you know, going out and trying it. I knew that's something that I wanted to try, so I did, and we didn't have sex, but we did do some things, and I knew then that I was gay, and there was no way that I could live my whole entire life not feeling that feeling. And it's not just a sex thing. I mean, clearly we as gay community, we know that, but and now, as I am now, I always say it's not about sex at all. You could have sex with a guy and it not be you're gay. Sometimes you're just an opportunist, and you can just do that, and that's fine. But it really takes a man to be able to love another man like a man can love a woman, but a man can love a man, and that's you know, that's the truth of it. You gotta really be able to love a man in order to, and see yourself with a man and a partner and creating a family, or maybe not creating a family, but living life as partners. You know, that's more the reality of it. So yeah, I mean, I was 19 years old when I think I knew at that point that I wasn't going to be able to live life hiding. And so there wouldn't really be a point until I was probably 23 years old where I felt like I needed to say this. I needed it to be not something that I'm just dealing with, but something that I can be proud of and feel good about and have support of. And I think that by the time I was 23 years old and where I was living and how things were going, I felt like, what's the worst that could happen? I had already gone through several different things in my life, and it really wouldn't have mattered to me what this person or that person thought. I think I felt at that point like, if you don't like it, I don't care. I'm gonna be this way no matter what. So I did it, and I told my mother, and because that was really the only person that I needed to tell. And other than telling my mother, I basically just live my life, and people can assume what they want to, and it does come up, and there are conversations that, you know, happen that you maybe say, I'm dating, you know, Matt, my boyfriend, or whatever the case may be. I'm not a very flamboyant, feminine guy. Naturally I'm not, but, you know, wait until you see me drunk. Wait until you see Britney Spears on, Beyonce, Gaga, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I love, you really see my true colors, you know, whenever I'm happy, and I'll probably drink a little bit, something like that. But yeah, I told my mom, and I can, oh gosh, man, I thought it was going to ruin everything that I was trying to create in a relationship with my mother, and you'll get to know that kind of thing here later, but I didn't have my mom in my life. So when I told her about me, there was a lot of a feeling of, like I said, I could do this, and I can tell her, and just, you know, what's the worst that's going to happen? I mean, I have gone through so many things. So on one hand, it really did not matter, and that's just the truth. And maybe that it took me to get to that point where I did not care to tell someone. But on the other side of that, she was someone that I wanted to know my whole entire life. And after meeting her at 18 and leaving her, but then knowing that I could have her in my life, whether there was distance or not, at 23, she was really my best friend. She's always been, ever since I've known her, she's always been just such a big part of my heart, that she really was the only one I needed to tell. And so when I told her, she gave me a couple of you know, little tales of my life when I was younger, around 3 or so, that led her to believe that maybe I would have been, or that in the time that she got to know me from 18 to 23, maybe there was some things about me that she was really very accepting of it, and she laughed while I cried, and she thought, you know, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing that makes you happy, and I don't want you to ever feel different, or that you can't accomplish anything, or that you have nobody. And as I stand here today, and one of the best things is after telling her, she loves Bravo Network. She knows all the housewives. She loves drag queens. She loves things that she never knew that she would love. And I think it took me bringing that out, that there's a little piece of her that liked those things before I ever came out, and now she has a son that she can talk to about all this, you know, ridiculousness that we see. But it's something very special. And just to sum it up, I want to just say to you guys, and this is probably bigger than me sharing my story, I just want you guys to know that no matter what, you have to love yourself. You have to love yourself. You have to take the time, plan it. Maybe you don't plan it, but there's a time to tell everyone. And like I said, for my story, I didn't care if anyone was going to say bad things to me. I was ready. I needed to get it off my chest, but I had nothing. And I guess I just felt like there would be no reason for me to wait. And sometimes there is reason to wait. Sometimes there's reason to move out of your parents' house before you tell them. Maybe in your upbringing you weren't going to be able to say anything. It would have turned into a bad situation. So I'm just saying that when you do come out, I'm here to support you. There's a network of people here to support you. And when you're ready, we're all here. But until then, stay strong and know that when it's time, you'll do it. And good luck. Bye.